His name is, let me check. His name is Ma'ruf.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Ma'ruf will be presenting a paper with the title Digital Mapping of Hard Soil Depth in Banjarmasin City in Indonesia. So just now we heard about a case in Malaysia. Now we go to Indonesia. Okay, and after that straight to Korea. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Ma'ruf to present his presentation. Please welcome.
Thank you very much, my honor associate professor Honorary. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Afief Ma'ruf. I am from Indonesia, Banjarmasin, in South Borneo or South Kalimantan. Is this the mic or? I feel like my words become funny.
You can use this one.
Thank you. Nah, that's much better. I don't know what happened with the mic.
Hello.
This time, my presentation title is Digital Mapping of Hard Soil Depth in Banjarmasin City with my team, me myself, Muhammad Afief Ma'ruf, and then Mr. Rusdiansa, Mrs. Ulfa Fitriati, and my student Agil Arif Rahman. And this work was supported by University of London Mangkurat as the donor of the grant through Institute for Research and Community Service in the stream of Higher Education Primary Research Scholarship. Okay, let me start. Okay. First of all, let me introduce Banjarmasin itself. Banjarmasin is the capital of South Kalimantan Province, Indonesia. It's the same island as part of Malaysia, Kuching, Sarawak. It's one island. And then the soil in Banjarmasin is dominated by alluvial soil, that clay structure, and the hard soil is very deep. Usually the depth of hard soil in Banjarmasin runs until between 19 to 34 meters. So with that said, if we build high-rise building in Banjarmasin, we usually use deep pile foundation between 30 to 40 meters based on the CPT or SPT data. So because of that, in Banjarmasin City, there is a lot of secondary data from CPT to SPT, but it is not been collected to be in one place or one database. It is scattered from some in the university database, some in the laboratory, some in the contractor worker. Because of that, there is no information that summarizes the depth of hard soil in the city of Banjarmasin, especially in the form of digital maps. Why this is important? Because usually, for example, if we got a project to build high-rise building, we receive the shop drawing and then we just implement the shop drawing straight to it. But we do not check the shop drawing itself, is it valid or not. So this map, if there is a map, it can check, it can compare to the shop drawing, is it valid or not for the depth of the foundation itself. Digital mapping itself is a process which data is compiled and formatted in digital image. In here, I talk about GIS, Geographical Information System. Especially in here, I use ArcGIS 10.3. Maybe some of you use Quantum instead for the open source. And then in the field of civil engineering, the use of GIS have been widely applied to help map depth and type of soil. A very similar research with my title is conducted by Yanto in 2012 in Surakarta, Solo, just below Yogyakarta in Central Java. And this research is done by compiling all existing CVD data and then plotted to make the soil profile through the region of Surakarta using the software ArcGIS 9.2, because that's in 2012. Maybe 10.3 is still haven't established yet. And now for the methodology. The data I use is based on CPT and SPT data. CPT, cone penetration test, also known as Dutch cone penetration, is a method of stratigraphic estimation. So we do the CPT data and then we get data of the heart of the soil and the depth of it. from the CPT test, the value of cornice resistance is the point, and the friction resistance are obtained. And then based on that, according to Braja, if the friction value, if the cornice resistance is more than 115 kg per centimeter square, then we can classify the soil as hard soil. So for the CPT data, my standard is 115 and above. And then the second method is SPT, just like what Associate Professor Wan Jacob has done, by drilling a hole to find out whether the dynamic resistance of the soil or something takes place with calcium technique. Now for the SPT itself, if the N16 value is greater than 32, then we classify it as hard soil. This is the literature review for the value of 115. This one, based on the cornice penetration test, 115 to 300 for the KC is sand dense, sandy gravel, so dense, coarse sand dense, and silty sand or very dense. And for the SPT itself, if the SPT N16 is more than 32, its consistency is hard. Although 16 to 32 is already more said very steep, but I'll stick with the more than 32. And then after obtaining the soil depth, I input the data to ArcGIS 10.3, and according to the GPS, when we conduct the test, we make the map for the all region of Banjarmasin. And for the Banjarmasin city itself is divided to 5 regions. The center is Banjar Tengah, the north one is Banjar Utara, the east one is Banjar Timur, the south one is Banjar Selatan, and the west one is Banjar Barat. They end with the border lines. For example, in central Banjarmasin Tengah region, the CPT data is from project of Global Hotel Banjarmasin, as shown in figure 2, which is KC value more than 115 obtained in 38.4 meters, while according to SPT data, the more than 32 value is in 38. That's the data. So we can see this one is still very soft, very soft, very soft. It's getting harder, and then we reach the hard soil at around 38.4. But according to the SPT data, the hard soil starts at 38. I only cut the last page of the SPT because the upper page is just show how soft the soil is. So because of this, I took the 38, more than 38.4. So for this point, we use the hard soil depth is 38 for the moderation. And then another sample is in Banjarmasin city also. The city varies from the data. We obtain that the hard soil depth varies from 28 to 42.4 meters. In Banjarmasin Utara, in the north, is 32.3 meters. In west is 36 to 42.4 meters. In south and in middle, and also in east, the hard soil depth is around 28 to 14 meters. This is the details of the data. For Banjarmasin city, I use 9 points of test location. I am hoping that for the further research, I can add more data to make my map more representable. Just for the beginning, I hope this 9 is enough because there is already data for each region. And then I use software ArcGIS 10.3 to make the map, and then voila, this is it. Also, although there is still some blank spot in here, I'm hoping that this map can give further information for the practitioner to work in the field. So if we get a project or we get some mitigation, we can see the standard or the forecasting of the depth of the hard soil. This one is 42 to 44 meters. The pink one is 40 to 42 meters. The blue one is the depth of 38 to 40 meters. The orange one is 34 to 36 meters. The yellow one is 32 to 34. The green one, the dark green, is 30 to 32, and the light green is 28 to 30 meters. With this, we hope the information can at least make the civil engineering practitioner go easier. So the conclusion is, from the CPT and the SPT data update, the distribution of hard soil depth in Banjarmasin City varies from 28 to 42.4 meters. Then this map can provide hard soil depth information for the Banjarmasin City area according to the coloring. And for future study, it is possible to add the physical and mechanical soil properties to make the map more advanced and informative, especially for civil engineering practitioner. I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ma'ruf, for a very good presentation. Now I would like to open the floor for questions. Any questions from the audience? Comments? Okay, I have one suggestion. I think it's good if you could plot your borehole positions that you use to get the data on this map. That's recommendation number one. And number two, because I can see from here that the hard layer is look like a bowl, meaning that you have a deeper part in the middle and then the shallow part at the margin, marked as the brown color. So have you considered of making cross sections? Yeah, probably you can locate 2 or 3 boreholes and try to make a cross sections, and then you can present much better than looking at on the surface. So you have on the surface and on the sections. The third question would be, why use SPT 30 as a hard layer? Because in my country we use SPT 50 as a hard layer. Is it any different?
Thank you. Actually, in Indonesia, for practitioner in Indonesia, we usually use SPT 60 or 60 hard layer. But if we go around and look for the literature review, there is no literature that stated that 60 is hard. The one Banja stated is 32. So for the sake of academic standard, we just go with Banja.
Because I think 30 is too less stringent. Yeah, because it's still soft. If you go to 50, much better. 60, better, because it's harder than 32, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? If there is no more questions, so I would like to say thank you to Mr. Ma'ruf for the presentations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's put our hands together to Mr. Ma'ruf. Okay, our next presentation will be the last one. All right? No? Anyone else? You?
Laptop.
Oh, you are going to present as well? All right, okay, sorry about it. So because I asked you just now, you said you are one of the committee. Okay, our